We're still on the same campaign. The campaign hasn't changed. The crescendo has not been reached. It's not climax. It's a rust of the cosmic has not been broken. You need to break the cosmic. In Jamaica, we used to go to Church of God in Jamaica, Clapham Church of God. And when the people reach rapture, you know there was rapture because all the voices could be heard and you could hear the angels in their heights. That has not been reached in the case of the Magdala collection. In my interviews, we find that Queen Elizabeth got to Ethiopia in 1965 and she spoke with His Majesty and she called Council Plowden name and she went to Gondar and she spoke about the churches. And when she was leaving, she returned the cap, the royal cap and the imperial seal. This is the 7th of January 1965 in Asmara, the imperial palace in Asmara. The Queen Elizabeth II, head of state of Jamaica, returned to Ethiopia, Emperor Haile Selassie, the royal cap and the imperial seal of Emperor Theodore. And she called his name. So I asked His Majesty, why didn't you ask her to return all the things then? And His Majesty said to me, well, reflect on what happened in 1974. If those Magdala treasures was in Ethiopia and the rebellion took place as was prophesied, I've brought up children and they rebelled against me, what would have happened to those treasures and what would be left for you, the remnant, to claim? They were left there for that those who has the right of claim will make their claim. Those who do not feel it belongs to them will go another road. But those who have the right will explain in a dignified and a forthright way their right, and that argument will overcome any other English argument. Well, during the Jubilee season as we're in now, you must return every man his property. And that is what we're in. The campaign doesn't stop because while the campaign is potent, South Africa during the apartheid era, you couldn't walk on the same side of the road as Japheth. You couldn't go to the same beach as Japheth. You couldn't go to the same school or university as Japheth. So where did you get your education in which to run a country and supervise administrations without a balance of spiritual and cultural? Where did you get your education? I think you're not educated enough to do that job that you're doing. I think you're not properly balanced. That's what I think, because you've not been properly structured to know the depth of the scramble for Africa, the European invasion of Africa. You don't know the depth of it. When we were doing anti-apartheid, when Winnie Mandela came over, because Winnie Mandela is our champion. Winnie Mandela came up to us and asked us for help here in England while her husband was in jail. She came to Brixton Academy, wore the young men in uniform, militant Rastaman, and she asked us for help to free her husband in South Africa in jail. And there was a march from Hyde Park to Clapham Common. And we escorted that march, the ANC march, with our flags. We were the militants because we had a cause. Our case is still, and now it's gone to different levels now. But it's never ending. It's from, have you taught the Kebra Nagas to your children and your grandchildren? Well, unless you inculcate that education, how are they going to know that they've got 3,000 years of recorded history and they can track it? And there's 225 kings of Ethiopia and they've all got names and chronicles and works that England's got in their libraries now. If you go to Cambridge University, you'll find copies of the original Lifafa Sedek. If you go to Oxford University, you'll find the original Bibles of Ethiopia. If you go to the Royal Library at Windsor Castle, you'll find the books of Mary, the mother of Jesus Christ. You'll find the prayer she made in Golgotha after the crucifixion, before the resurrection. You'll find that prayer at Golgotha in the Royal Library at Windsor Castle. And I'm suggesting that for the exhibition, the majesty of Emperor Haile Selassie, we can make this prayer available, and not only to Ethiopians. Think Kenya. Did you hear of the case of the Momo, what they gone through? Think Tanzania. Think Congo. Think French West Africa. Think Southern Africa, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Zambia. Have they ever been exposed? Then, if the exhibition, the majesty of Emperor Haile Selassie, is created for the glory of Emperor Haile Selassie, then wouldn't you want to go to the depth, to plumb the depth? So in 20 years or 30 years, when some student, bright student, come to say, who them people are, what them not going to do something better than what them do? And they go into the depth, the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. What did Gabriel say to Mary before the child was born? Wouldn't you want to know that? Wouldn't a musician want to sing that? DJ no want to talk that? See, these are things that when the crescendo is reached, then you see everyone will be happy in their spirit. Because the goal of human life is to be happy. It is not to be sad, it's to be happy and to enjoy that happiness. It's the goal of human life and endeavor. So that happiness comes from spirituality first. You're at peace with yourself. If you pray the prayer that the Dengal Mariam made at Golgotha, you will find peace with yourself.
Yes, sir. Well, you kind of also answered the next question as to why it is important that the Magdala campaign is kept on the agenda, you know. Where is that campaign here right now? Where does it sit now? What is the current state of affairs?
Okay, that's a good question. We're in the Jubilee season. The British Golden Jubilee started in 2002, and the Diamond Jubilee was 2012, last year. Jamaica's Golden Jubilee started last year, and it runs for 10 years until 10 more years. On the 25th of May this year, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Portia Simpson Miller, went to Addis Ababa for the 50th year, the start of the OAU Golden Jubilee, which is going to run for 10 years until the Diamond Jubilee. That is where the campaign is now, because it's a jubilee. It's governed by ecclesiastical instrument that cannot be mitigated. They are not subject to temporal authority. A policeman can't come tell you you can't celebrate your jubilee. A God Almighty tell you to celebrate your jubilee. Not temporal officers. So you'll go to jail rather than saying no and do it. Right, so that law, it shall be holy unto you. Leviticus 25 is a law that makes the jubilee work. There is no other instrument. Leviticus 25. It shall be holy unto you. You must know the best thing to do. You must return every man his property. That means to say, if you did thief my things 100 years ago, and it's your jubilee now, return it during the jubilee. I cannot punish you. If you return it outside of that ecclesiastical order, you may be punished. There is a window. Return it during that 10 year of jubilee, during your reign. Having failed that test, the Queen, sovereign lady of the Jamaican Constitution, I think the wording is that the British government has sacrificed her, that the charge of sacrilege be taken to her grave. They have not mitigated the charge. She will go to her grave with that charge of sacrilege because she has 6 of the original looted manuscripts from Magdala, and she claimed in a letter to a member of parliament that they are inalienable.
which means
carry your gang and come, what you say.
see,
If you think say them thing belong to you, carry your gang and come, and we dub it out.
now you mentioned the fact that the Jamaican Prime Minister Portia Simpson went to the OAU summer meeting this year, just recently,
Yes,
right?
2 weeks ago. Yes.
Right. Now, when he was reasoning as well, you mentioned about the Jamaican Constitution itself. Just mention a bit about that, the date when the Jamaican Constitution was actually formed.
All right, so look at Jamaica as the state of Sam Sharp, the state of Paul Bogle Nani, George William Garden. I don't think the others, Marcus Garvey, I don't think the others are worth mentioning as national heroes. I'm going to question their authenticity as national heroes, but we accept up to Marcus Garvey. Right, so Jamaica is this English captured from the Spanish in 1655. So it's always been a crown colony, the jewel in the crown of England, the most valuable commodity in their slave portfolio. That's Jamaica. Okay, so modern time comes and there's a decolonization movement. The wind of change is blowing. So for whatever reason, they said Jamaica is being granted independence. A constitution was made on the 23rd of July, 1962. Hence 50 years last year of Jamaica's Golden Jubilee. The Constitution of Jamaica was made on the 23rd of July, 1962 in Buckingham Palace. If you look at, you can Google it. On the face of the Constitution, it says made on the 23rd of July. Jamaica's Constitution Day is the 23rd of July. Jamaica was born as a constituted country on the 23rd of July. That is your birthday, Jamaica.
Bless the love, my Lord. Can you explain a little about the Afromet?
Afromet is the Association for the Return of the Ethiopian Magdala Treasures. It was started in 1999. I am not the first Magdala researcher. I give that to Professor Pankhurst, Professor Richard Pankhurst. I would say he's one of the first Magdala, modern Magdala researchers. He did a great deal. He helped in my court case. He supplied information. I had letters, when I went to Ottawa, I submitted letters to various authorities over there from European institutions saying that it is up to the Ethiopians to claim. They had a discussion and they formed Afromet to make an official claim from Ethiopia. There are two separate claims that must be clearly understood. The Ethiopians want the property returned to them. It belongs to them. It was taken from their church. My argument for Jamaica is that it should be disseminated to Jamaica and the Caribbean people and people here in Europe as well. It should be disseminated. There are two different arguments. My argument is to disseminate it. Jamaica, Caribbean, Commonwealth, English-speaking countries, Europe, that's a business. The other argument is return the original manuscripts that was looted. I support the argument. But those translated into English, I'm saying disseminate the information. Not only disseminate it, digital copies are available. You can see them on digital photographs. I think the British Library has about 10, a gospel book and 10 digitized photographs in their online collection. It's the only book that they've ever published. But they are there. Yeah?
Would
So,
you say? Okay.
Afromet received the tablet from Scotland. In 2002, a tablet was returned from Scotland. Afromet received that tablet. There are government institutions in Ethiopia designed to recover the Magdala treasures. And they were led by Professor Andres Asheti. He was the Chancellor of the Addis Ababa University and a close friend of the Prime Minister Meles Zenawi. That was a level, it was a cabinet Prime Minister office visit. Because the fundamental is there are 3 different newspaper articles valuing the treasures at over 3 billion sterling. which in 96 was more than the GDP of Ethiopia. So the argument is an economic argument rather than just a spiritual and cultural argument. Even though I'm saying the spiritual and cultural argument is more valuable, the economic argument also, there are treasures, material treasures. And we're talking in manuscripts, we're not talking the crown and the chalice and other things. Afromet is an association for the return. They were set up to engineer the return. Look what they did. They went to Westminster Abbey and they found that one of the tablets there in Henry VII's chapel was looted from Magdala. They said it's sacrilege. They said it was put in Westminster Abbey in 1868 by sacrilege. Anything happens in that place after that time is under sacrilege. Anything, because it was put there by deliberate subterfuge. And if you read how Westminster Abbey got the tablet, how they say they got it, they would mislead you. They wouldn't say it was looted from the church of Daniel at Magdala. They would say the town burnt down and we took 4 tablets to England. Like they didn't loot it from the church, like Captain Arbuthnot didn't take it from Ethiopia.
So would you say it is a spent force?
Afromet? Oh no, Afromet can't be a spent force. Afromet in 2010, let me tell you what happened. The European documents say that only the Ethiopian government can claim. In 2008, the president of Ethiopia made a claim to the British Library for his property, his treasures. That was refused. Afromet in 2010 wrote a letter to the Ethiopian World Federation asking musicians to get themselves involved in a campaign to make it more public awareness so that the public can be more aware of the Magdala campaign. Afromet can't be a spent force. It's a live... I'm a founding member of Afromet. You'll see when Afromet was started, I was on the podium with Professor Pankhurst and Professor Andreas Esheti. Afromet is not a spent force.
Yeah, I mentioned that Dr. Richard Pankhurst was also part of the original Afromet. Just give a little more of the actual incident at Magdala.
Incident?
The incident at Magdala, what actually happened?
What happened?
Yeah.
All right. We're going back in time. All right. So there's a British officer in Ethiopia. His name is Council Plowden. He's a friend of Emperor Theodore. Emperor Theodore is crowned in 1855. Right. Emperor Theodore is fighting constant battles. So he's away and fighting a battle. And rebels come against him in Gondar and they kill the British ambassador. The British send another ambassador called Captain Cameron in 1860. 1862. He arrived there in 1862. His records are available now. So I don't have to say what he says or what happened, how he was received, how he was treated. It's a matter of record. You should say, give me a copy of the record and we will make our own research. So I don't have to interpret the record. All right. So there are 6 Turkish armies on the coast because Turkey, the Ottoman Empire, has a claim on that land. So they're invading. Gondar, the ancient capital of Ethiopia, is exposed to the Turkish armies. So the emperor collects all his treasures, all his goods, all his good things, and put them in Magdala, his capital city, which is impregnable. It's a fortress. So all the treasures go to Magdala. The British ambassador, Mr. Cameron, he sees all the treasure, you mean all the gold of Ethiopia? So he promptly gets himself arrested. How did he get himself arrested? The emperor said, you see them people down the road up there, sir? Me not like them, right? None of my subjects go over there, sir, right? So Mr. Cameron is in Ethiopia now and promptly goes to the place that the emperor gives orders not to go. So people tell him, Emperor, how much king in the country? Then you one. Then all the white boy do over there, so when Jaffita do over there, so. And you tell him not to go there. And if me go over there, so you mean your favorite subject, I've made you chop off my head long time. How him can go there? How much king in the place? All right.
Make him come back here, sir. Come back. Hello, Mr. British Ambassador. How are you today? I'm very fine, you know, went walkabouts and everything like that. And where did you go walkabouts? Over this, around this, around this, sir. Did anyone tell you you're not supposed to go where my enemies are and berate me in front of my enemies? I don't know that, man. We British ambassador, man. We can't go anywhere in the world, man. You know, Queen of England run the world, man. We can't go anywhere in the world, man. Oh! All right. Don't arrest him, leave him. Tell the British ambassador I would like to see him, will you, please? British ambassador, the Emperor wants to see you. Well, me feel kind of sick, you know. Tell him say me can't come right now. Me feel kind of sick. He says he's sick, he can't come right now. And this one coming is sick and he can't tell me where all the doctors are. He's not an ambassador, he's an imposter. Jail him. So he's promptly jailed. I've been insulted in London, London. I've been jailed, London, send the army. We can't send the army. I mean, just send the army all the way up there, man. He said, what's up there anyway? He's got all the gold of Ethiopia up there. Can we have some confirmation? Yeah, send the envoy. Get the Queen to write a letter and personally authorize that man there to go and talk to the Emperor. His name is Rassam, Hormuzd Rassam. So the Queen Victoria writes him a letter, Hormuzd Rassam. He happens to be a Turk, the enemy that's invading the country. So the Emperor sees this Turk come in. I'm the British envoy. How you doing, Ambassador? Are you really? Well, why don't you sit yourself on my throne then? I'll sit on the floor. And the Emperor sit down on the floor because it's a tradition. The big man, and see if you want to take him place or anything. So, Rassam, oh no, Emperor, I can't do that, I can't do that. I liberate the captives and everything, all right. I see gold. All right, these captives did me wrong. You will judge them, and if I am wrong, I will be in your debt, and if you're wrong, you will be in my favor. Yes, Emperor, sure. Get out the country fast. Then how you going to send them out the country and not judge them yet? You're not invite, jail him too. Ooh. But don't send him to the jail down there, sir. Send him to the jail over there, sir. The treasury. Rassam goes into the treasury and write a report, I see gold. Who did he write that report to? A man called Layard, the Under-Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, who just robbed the Persian Empire a couple of years ago, and Rassam was his chief robber. So when Rassam writes, I see gold, the Parliament of England vote £10 million and send a general and 32,000 troops. Go get it. And they got all the gold of Ethiopia. I'm looking for manuscripts because I wanted to find out what was written down by our people. But what England got was all the gold. And they murdered the emperor. And his wife was buried 3 days later.
And my understanding as well is that the fires that they burned, when they burned, a lot of manuscripts and documents were burnt as well.
Oh, they fired
and
the
smoke
place.
From the fires could be seen for miles around.
They fired the place. He said he'll burn it and he'll make it uninhabitable. That's what you need to read General Napier's report. General Napier was the commanding general and he wrote reports to London. You need to read those. They're available, just like the Private Golgotha. They're not secret documents, they're public documents. When you read them, you'll get a better understanding. By the Prime Minister of Jamaica going to Addis Ababa and making the statement that Bob Marley or Paris comes, she brings in Jamaica. Jamaica people must realize that the whole government is on the shoulders of Jamaica.
Yes.
It's only Jamaican people can talk to England.
In terms of reggae music, how does I feel that reggae music can be a crucial part of the process of empowerment of our people?
All right. Watch reggae music. Where reggae music coming at this thing now, right? So Coxsone start off with 2-track studio, and Duke Reid and people follow on and make music, and Sound Clash start
and people start expressing themselves in our music. And Dennis Brown reached Addis Ababa and say, in Demina true, Dana, he was the first. Bob Marley the rich boy never met no tune out of it.
Yeah.
Dennis Brown was the first.
True.
And when we hear that now, the promised land, we recognize it because the musician is telling us. It is not the paper, it's the musician is telling us what's going on. Good. So now we reach now Addis Ababa. Bob Marley said jump na Bingi. Congo Rocky and the Sons of Thunder reach for Emperor Haile Selassie centenary in 1992. Navuma do solo. Oh pirates, yes, sir, Rabbi. So like, she's got a fine voice. She's singing solo in Addis Ababa theater. Oh pirates, yes, sir, Rabbi. So like, solo. And I'm saying to the people, why you put it, give her a funde now, man. And I have the bass, and I start drop a bass and her. Then the funde come in. Then the flagman start dance and Congo Rocky fly down and the whole thing bubble up. And Bingi take over and this, and people love it. Right? Now the reason why they got in, because they know Bob Marley. All the time people is chanting the ISIS chant. Nobody not pick up, they can't pick up. We talk in English. So me work it out, Congo Rocky with a chant some American. Yes, we overs and things happen. Congo Rocky go back to Jamaica, come forward again, reach Shashamane again, me reach him again. Congo Rocky with a chant the Bingi in a American man. Him say, yes, it's true because me can come from 1 to 1,000. We say, God Almighty. And we start the American chant and we have some simple American chant, the fiddle. In America, get to know it. And do let's so, and do let's so, and do let's so, who let's so, let's so, and do let's so, and do let's so, and do let's so, and do let's so, who let's so, let's so, and do let's so, and do let's so, starata, Mercedes, Sabat, Semen, Zeten. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Asarhaya Salasa, Araba Amasa, Saba, Semen, Yazeten, Yameto. 10, 20, 30, 40, 100. It's the simplest thing. So you put that into, you learn, reggae musician learn the language through your music, show how you've learned it and move on. Mawi, Haile Selassie, Kadamawi, Moana, Basazama, Nagada Yehuda. You learn, remember say, I talk to Jamaica people. Jamaica people, when you read your Bible, read your version 1 that Haile Selassie give to us in 1961. Inna Kwankwa, Kwankwa, Yamarina, Kwankwa, the national prayer in Jamaica. Because we don't pray in English. We do our business, money changing business in English. But in our Irish, in our prayer, we pray from Emperor Haile Selassie Bible. Because Emperor Haile Selassie published a Bible 23rd of July, 1961. Jamaica, you got your constitution. 23rd of July, 1962. 23rd of July is Emperor Haile Selassie Earth Day. Jamaica, what you're doing? You don't realize what's going on. Jamaica get the blessing. The blessing that was given from David to Solomon has been bequeathed to Jamaica. The remnant that was saved when the people revolted are Jamaicans who held Emperor Haile Selassie in reverence. And because the slavery system that the British had in Jamaica, the people revolted against it and asked for the God of Ethiopia to help us. Not Sky God, the King of Kings sitting on the throne. Marcus Garvey said, look to Ethiopia. Rastaman work, many people think the great gods will come from the sky. Them don't, them is born of women. You understand me? So, the forward movement is Jamaica. The Prime Minister of Jamaica has gone to Africa, called Marcus Garvey name in front of all the leaders, sing Bob Marley song, all pirates come to rob us, put us upon their merchant ships, another time they take us to their bottomless pit, our arms is made strong by Rastafari. Sing it in front of all the leaders. It's for the musician to run dub now heavy. Every country in the 52 nations of Africa is supposed to have a sound system allied to them. Where you know, say that sound they work over this, so, and that sound the tour over this, so, and Jara go over this, so, and export the music, but don't export the bashment, the thing, but not the lyrics. You cannot bring those lyrics to a place that Mr. Holness told you that. Andrew Holness told you what or you export, because people will be reflect on you what you say. So bring your roots and culture into Africa, make money in America and Europe and China and Japan, spend off in Africa. That's the forward movement. Rastafari is setting up the African government. Marcus Garvey is the first president. It is on Marcus Garvey's idea that the government of Africa is built on. And the treasures are here in England for us to recover. If you can, by argument and solid reasoning, convince the British that they are wrong, and if the Jamaicans, who the Queen of England is the head of state of Jamaica, can convince the head of state that her soul is in jeopardy, because you cannot take sacrilege to your grave. If you did something wrong, and I warned you that there is something wrong, and you ignore my warning, then the consequence is on your shoulders. But a Jamaican head of state to take a charge of sacrilege to her grave, and no Jamaican can warn, well, me come from Clarendon, Jamaica, me I warn you, don't go to your grave with sacrilege, because I will not go there with you.